Hey y'all, so today I'm going to be telling you my TBR for the Reading Quest. So the Reading Quest is a reading challenge that was created by Read at Midnight, and I will leave a link down in the description to both the post that describes how the challenge works and to Little Book Owl's video where she gives her TBR, because that's where I first heard about this. It's about a week after the Booktubeathon ended, and my reading's been a little bit slow since then, and I figured that the best way to get myself back into being really excited about reading is to do another reading challenge, so that's what I'm doing. The blog post goes into full detail about the challenge, so I won't go into full detail, but essentially how it works is that it's kind of like a bingo board, and there are characters at each corner of the bingo board, and you have to follow their path around the board. Each square has a challenge, and you have to finish one full leg of the side before you can move on to the next full side. I'll try to put a picture up here and post to see if that makes any sense. But then there are also many challenges that you can do in the middle of the board that are outside of your main quest. It's a lot of cool stuff, and I'm really excited about this because this is such a cool idea. So each person chooses a character to start out with, and they have to complete that character's full path before they move on to the next one. So y'all know me. Which one am I starting with? The Mage, which predictably has to do with fantasy novels and magic, and that's just my favorite thing. But also, I'm using this challenge as a bit of a way to defeat my TBR shelf, because I actually reorganized my shelves not too long ago so that this shelf over here is all of my TBR books, and these back here are all of my read books. I had it like this for a while, but then I changed it back, and now I've changed it back to having a TBR shelf, mostly because I really do want to focus for the rest of the year on getting my TBR down. I'll insert a clip here showing you my TBR shelf because I actually have it organized by when I bought the book. So the top shelf is 2014 and earlier, and then 2015, you get the gist. Okay, so this is the current state of the bookcase that has my TBR on it. It is not completely full. As you can see, this shelf down here is mostly empty, but it is organized by the year that I got it. So this top shelf is books that I got 2014 or earlier. The majority of the Codex Alera I got in 2015, but I got the first book in 2014 and it fit well on the shelf, so I went ahead and did that, and the same with Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy. Then down here are the books that I got in 2015 that I still haven't read, the ones that I got in 2016 and still haven't read, and then down here, this shelf and the very bottom one are ones that I got in 2017 and have yet to read. So those are a little bit less shameful. And my point here is to hopefully notice which books I've had for the longest and at least try to knock them out. And fortunately, this challenge is going to be great at that because pretty much all of my 2014 and earlier books fit challenges. I've been rambling a lot at the beginning of this video, but last note before we jump into the TBR, I do want to note that I'm probably not going to read all of these books in the challenge. It's a 4-week long challenge, and there's like 25 possible things to do, so obviously I'm not gonna be able to get to all of these. But I have picked books for all of the Mage and Knight paths, and part of the Bard path, and a lot of the mini challenges. So I'll go ahead and show you what I have right now. I will also be doing a blog post that I will update as I read and or as I change my TBR. And I think I'm gonna keep up with my point totals on there as well, so we'll see. We'll just make it up as we go along. So we're starting out the Mage Path with the first challenge, a book with a one-word title. And this was like super easy because I've been meaning to read this book forever, and I know I'm gonna love it, and it's also a fantasy, and that is Elantris by Brandon Sanderson. It's by my favorite author. It's his first book that he published. I've been meaning to read it forever. I know it's gonna be amazing. I just haven't gotten to it, so now I'm finally getting to it. The next challenge I'm addressing is a book based on mythology, and for this one I'm going with The Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan. Now I know that rereads technically aren't supposed to count in this, I get it, but I'm making an exception for this because the last time I read this was like in junior high as the books were coming out. Basically, I started the series when only 3 books were out, and I never ended up finishing the series, and so now that I have all 5 books, that's what I mean to do. If someone wants to make this not count on a technicality, fine, but I remember pretty much nothing about this book, so it's gonna be like reading it for the first time. So there are 3 more challenges on the Mage Path, and honestly, there are 3 books that I have chosen, and each of them can fit any of the 3, so I'm gonna address all 3 of them together. So the 3 challenges are Contains Magic, Set in a Different World, and First Book in a Series. And there are 3 books that I've chosen that, like I said, could really fit any of these in any slot, so put them wherever you want. So the first one of those is the book that I've said the most times that I'm going to read and still have not read, and that is Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. Several months back, I announced a new series on my channel where I would be doing as I read videos for several popular YA series that I haven't read yet, linked up in the cards. And I still have not done a single video in that series, but I want to start doing them over this next month, and Throne of Glass is one of the books on that list. Also part of that challenge, and part of this challenge, Falling Kingdoms by Morgan Rhodes, the first book in the Falling Kingdom series. Once again, a series I've been meaning to start. It has magic, it's set in a different world, it's the first book in a series, and it also fits my bandwagoning series, so it fits perfectly. And the third book for these three challenges is Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. Once again, fits all three of these challenges, fits my video series. I am really excited about this one. This one's probably the one I'm most optimistic about of the three of them, so yeah, we'll see how this goes. So I've just mentioned 5 books, and honestly I'm going to be really impressed if I manage to get through all 5 of those, but I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the side quests now before I move on to the Night Path, mostly because I think that if I finish the Mage Path, I'm probably going to just do a lot of the side quests. Because once again, a lot of the side quests are books that I've been wanting to get to for a while and or series that I'm currently in the middle of. So for the expansion side quest where you have to read a companion novel or novella or something like that, I'm planning on reading The Emperor's Soul by Brandon Sanderson, which is a companion novella to Elantris. Honestly, I'll probably end up reading The Emperor's Soul right after I read Elantris just to stay in that world. Next up is the minigame side quest, and that is to read a comic or graphic novel or something like that. And for this, I am going with Volume 3 of the Battle Royale manga. I love the novel version of this. I have really enjoyed the first 2 volumes, and I'm really excited to move on to Volume 3, so I figured I had to put it on my TBR somewhere. So the next 2 side quests I'm going to be addressing are Grind, which is to read a book that's 500 pages or more, and Time Warp, which is to read a book that's not set in our time period. And the 2 books that I'm going to be using for those are the second and third books of the Jim Doyle trilogy. Yes, I'm crazy. This book is like 800 pages. Like I said, I'm definitely not finishing this entire TBR, but hey, it can't hurt to try and at least put these on there. I read the first book in this trilogy during the Booktubeathon and loved it, so I've been really excited to continue the series, and these fit the challenges really well. Honestly, the Sweetfar thing is a really long book, but given how quickly I flew through the first book, which is 400 pages long, I'm not too incredibly worried, but I honestly don't think I'm gonna finish it before the end of the challenge. The next side quest is Respawn, to read a book that you DNF'd, and for this I'm going with Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor. I picked this up during the Booktubeathon in 2015, and I was enjoying it, but it just ended up being too long for me to finish it before the end of the Booktubeathon and to complete the challenge that it was supposed to complete, so I just ended up setting it down, and I still haven't picked it up. It's also another book that I mentioned in my bandwagoning YA series video, and I need to get to it soon, so hopefully I end up reading it. So the next side quest is Potions, which is to read a book by 2 authors. Honestly, I don't think I'm gonna finish this, but I'm gonna show this book anyway just because it fits. That's Illuminae by Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. I picked it up during the Booktubeathon. I wasn't super compelled by it, but I kind of enjoyed it, and I figured I might like it more in physical form, so I guess this also is kind of a DNF too. So either way, I'm gonna try picking this up again and restarting it in physical form, and hopefully I enjoy it. Okay, so that's it for the mini challenges that I have books picked out for. Now I'm gonna move on to the Night Path. Like I said, probably not gonna get this far, but I'm gonna try. So the first challenge is a book with a verb in the title, and this one I have a few books floating around in my head, so I'll just go ahead and show them to you just so I have options. The one I'm most leaning toward is The Song Rising by Samantha Shannon. This is my favorite ongoing series. I've yet to read this, and I hope to get to it soon, even though I really feel like I need to reread the Mime Order, or at least read the summary that Samantha Shannon has up on her blog. I don't know, but this is the one that I most want to get to for this challenge. Another option is London Belongs to Me by Jacqueline Middleton. I'm not quite so sure about this one. I might read it if I'm in like a contemporary mood by that point, but this is definitely another option. I realized while doing this that I don't have that many books on my TBR shelf that have verbs in the title, which is odd. I'm surprised by that. I just saw a lot of nouns. So many nouns. The next challenge for this is Weapon on the cover, and for this one I'm going with The Furies of Calderon by Jim Butcher. I have this entire series, and I bought this at the end of 2014, and I've still yet to read it. So this is going on my TBR. Hopefully I pick it up at some point. The next next challenge is a red cover, and for this one I pulled another book off of my 2014 or earlier TBR shelf, and that is The Rook by Daniel O'Malley. I've had this forever, and it's always really intrigued me because it's a fantasy dystopian mix, and that's like my favorite thing on the planet, but I still haven't picked it up, and I've had it for like 3 years, so definitely need to get to this. And finally, the last challenge on this path is a book with a TV or movie adaptation, and for this one I'm going with The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. Once again, a book that I got in 2014 and still have not read, and I've heard so many times that it's good, and there are so many people who love it, but I still haven't read it. So hopefully I'll read it for the challenge. I mean, probably not, given that like there's so many books on my TBR for this, but like, I'll try. Okay, so that is my tentative TBR for the Reading Quest. Like I said many times through this video, I am not getting to all of these books. Like, if I do, my grades will be severely suffering because the semester starts in a couple weeks, and there's no way I'm going to be able to read all of this and do all of my work this semester. It's just not possible. But hey, I'm gonna try to at least complete some of this. I want to at least complete the Mage Path. I think that is my overall goal for this. But I just really love making TBRs to fit challenges, and I really like this one because so many of my books that I've had forever are ones that fit the challenges. Like I said, I do plan on doing a blog post with an updated, up-to-date TBR as I read or finish things or switch stuff around, so I will leave that linked down in the description so y'all can keep up with stuff. I'll also probably be posting on Goodreads and Twitter, so definitely check that as well. As always, I will leave links down in the description to my blog, Twitter, and Goodreads. Please add me as a friend on Goodreads. I would love to be friends with all of you. Like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. Thank you so much for watching.